Singapore and Indonesia will form a joint task force to study the development of a sustainable industrial zone in Bintan, Batam and Karimun. Now, these are part of larger efforts to further low-carbon cooperation and build foundations for a stronger ASEAN power grid. The task force is one of 3 memorandums of understanding inked between the two countries in Jakarta today. Others include furthering the partnership on cross-border electricity trade and cross-border carbon capture and storage, or CCS. Singapore's Minister in charge of Energy, Science and Technology, Tan See Leng, says this will be crucial for decarbonising economic activities that are hard to abate.
It is not a new technology, but, ladies and gentlemen, if Indonesia and Singapore can succeed in making this cross-border CCS a reality, we will be the first countries, amongst the first countries in Asia to do so. And you set the pathfinder. Achieving this vision will create major new business opportunity for Indonesia, and it will spur even newer investments and jobs.
Dr. Tan says the renewed commitment to energy and carbon collaboration projects in Bintan, Batam and Karimun would increase industrial activities in Indonesia. One analyst says the region presents an untapped opportunity, with proximity a plus point for movement of people and goods. Key sectors to benefit include manufacturing, material processing and logistics.
I think this will definitely provide new impetus that will multiply, that will actually have spill over to other sectors. And secondly, in terms of benefit, of course, that will be on the social front, in terms of new jobs, in terms of new skills, training that are needed. This will actually benefit the continued progress of the people from both countries.
And for more analysis, we're now joined by Sumit Agarwal, Professor of Finance, Economics and Real Estate at NUS Business School. Professor Agarwal, thank you so much for joining us tonight. First of all, explain to us, what is a sustainable industrial zone? What are its characteristics?
Think of it like a next-generation industrial park, but green. A sustainable industrial zone is built essentially to reduce pollution, recycle resources, and to essentially run on clean energy. We are talking about, say, solar power, low-emission factories, and systems where one industry's waste essentially becomes another industry's, say, raw material. And it's not just about environment either. These zones will create jobs, support local communities, and also promote innovation in the long run.
So it is a move towards sustainability and greener practices, as you mentioned there. But what makes a successful sustainable industrial zone? Are there any notable examples of other existing partnerships globally?
Oh, clearly. I mean, around the world, if you look at it, the first example that comes to my mind is Germany and China trying to build these eco-friendly parks together. There are obviously countries in the Middle East that are pooling resources for hydrogen energy. So Singapore and Indonesia joining hands is not unprecedented, but it is definitely strategic, and especially given how close they are in proximity or in geography.
But what sort of lessons or best practices from these partnerships could be applied to the collaboration between Singapore and Indonesia?
You mean best practices? I mean, there could be many things that will come out of this. There could be a low-cost manufacturing that could happen across the waters, renewable energy. We can think about even green hydrogen that will come out from here, low emissions and carbon credits. So I can think about many things that will happen because of this synergy that we can see between the two countries.
Okay, if you look at the locations chosen, Bintan, Batam and Karimun, what competitive advantages do they offer instead of other regions?
I mean, I'm a real estate guy, so I always think about location. The first thing that comes to my mind is these are just very short ferry ride from Singapore. So they are perfect for trade and easy coordination. But they are also special economic zones. So meaning they already have offer tax breaks and investment perks. They are also very good ports there and workers and space. So these are all things that Singapore will need in the long run. And these projects will also be kind of not crowd out Singapore's growth internally. So in all sense, this will benefit both Singapore and Indonesia together.
So it's all about the location, as you said. Minister Tan See Leng, he mentioned that the collaboration would catalyze more industrial activities in Indonesia. But how will Singapore stand to benefit from that?
But clearly, Singapore will benefit because there will be access to this renewable energy or green energy just across the border. So they don't really need to go very far away. I can even think about green technology, carbon credits, and this will keep emissions low, not just within Singapore, but both in Indonesia. So I can think about, in short, the way I would phrase it is Indonesia builds, Singapore invests, and both win.
Does cheaper production costs in Indonesia also play a part?
Yes, clearly. Because look, the labor cost is much cheaper, and Singapore can bring in the investments that can go into these industrial zones. So both the capital comes in and the labor comes in, and the labor could be trained by this additional technology or capital that can come in from Singapore.
Looking ahead, Professor Agarwal, what are some potential projects that the two countries could collaborate on?
So I can think about many things. I can think about solar farms. Carbon capture technology will be a big issue going forward, and I can think about that being a big important part here. Green factories for things like electronics or electric vehicle parts, even sustainable aquaculture or recycling plants. So basically, I can think about these zones become a regional hub for clean energy and not just purely about power generation that you can think.
All right. Very interesting perspectives. Thank you so much, Professor Agarwal, for speaking with us. Sumit Agarwal, they're Professor of Finance, Economics and Real Estate at NUS Business School. Thank you.